Hi, I'm James McGuire, and on today's eSpeaks, we're talking about automation and artificial intelligence, what's going on now and what might be going on in the future for those sectors. To discuss that, I'm joined by Mike Micucci, Chief Operating Officer at Automation Anywhere. Mike, good to have you with us on this Friday.
And thank you, James, very much for making the time and allowing me to join your podcast. I'm super excited to be here, live from San Francisco today in the office in beautiful downtown San Francisco. It's a great day.
Great. I'm coming to you live from just across the water over here in Oakland, so it's all we're not too far away, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
So automation and artificial intelligence, talk about a couple of big, buzzy, hot topics. I mean, it's sort of like artificial intelligence obviously gets all the buzz. Automation in reality is really changing things, maybe a little more quietly. It doesn't get quite the headlines, but automation is very big and getting bigger even as we speak. I'd like to get your sense, that you're close to the market. What are a couple of key trends driving automation / AI these days?
Well, James, I think if you take a step back, and we live it every day, in the last, 4 years, 3+ years, our lives have gone through all sorts of crazy things,
Right.
Woke up in March of 2019 or 2020, and COVID hit, and our entire lives turned inside out, from our kids to our work lives to our family lives.
Right.
Think about businesses, they went from everybody going into the office to suddenly working at home. And, automation had to step in a lot of cases. You think about IT world or customer success, where suddenly all your processes were built right there for people to go in the office. And you had to flip that on its ear, and you couldn't do that with marching armies of people around, because we obviously were all working from home. So automation stepped in, and it stepped in behind the scenes quietly and helped fill those gaps and help change how people interacted. And as we've gone through the next couple of years, we've had supply chain crises, we've had a war, we're in the middle of inflation, and automation is a combination of helping companies be more productive and efficient, helping preserve margins, but behind the scenes also doing things that aren't possible. I was talking to a customer not too long ago. Their e-com company, and particularly during COVID and then post-COVID, we were all buying everything online, but what happens when you return things? Right. And they sell mostly through wholesale channels, think like Amazon and whatnot. And, they had all these returns piling up, and they didn't have the staff to go through all those different websites and resellers and figure out what they should, deal with. So instead, automation steps in. So they wrote a series of bots, and those bots march out and they pull all the information down from all the different websites. They bring it back and they organize it. They put it in the claim system, and they look at it. The claims administrator then has one look at it, and they go, oh, okay, yeah, pay this, do this or this. And the bots go off and execute it. So that would be.
Can I ask you a quick question about that? I'm thinking that those bots might not have been able to do that right up top. They might have taken a variety of iterations to get to the place where they could actually do that.
Yeah, that's true. Some of it is a little bit of iteration, and that's where the technology of automation come along. If you think about automation tech, is a combination of code, low code, and helping you understand a process. It's looking at processes so you can organize them. Think of it like a map. And then it's using AI so that it gets smarter all the time. And I know this is one of the key topics here, but AI is actually helping accelerate the world of automation. So you had these tools, and all of a sudden you apply better tooling. It's more accessible. It's easier to build, easier to understand what people do, what you do day to day, or your company does day to day. And you add AI, and you have this continuous improvement. Those trends, back to your question, are what's fueling this continued push on automation in all of our lives, everywhere you see it.
It's interesting in that I think about artificial intelligence, automation. There can be sort of a blurry line between those two concepts, because when I think about automation, I think about we set up the process, it's going to repeat, it's going to repeat, it's going to repeat again and again and again without humans. When I think about AI, I think about a system that can grow without humans. It gets smarter and smarter as it digests more data. But of course, the artificial intelligence is often the engine for that automation. So in fact, in some instances, the automation is actually getting smarter. It's not merely repeating. What about that? Is AI and automation sort of two parts of the same spectrum, or are they two really different worlds in your mind?
They are two parts of the same spectrum. And I'll give you an example. I think 5, 7 years ago, a lot of automation was what they call RPA, or robotic process automation, right?
Sure.
You capture a screen and it says, oh, okay, here's the steps, and then you wrote the steps and you execute it. And those worked great, particularly for accounting and finance processes that don't change a lot, pay invoices and whatnot.
Right. Right.
But as you flip to now a more complex use case where it helps contact center people like call center, supply chain, I just did an e-commerce example.
Mhm.
Suddenly you've got a scenario where you can use AI, or particularly computer vision, to look at what's happening either on a desktop or a macro process,
Mhm.
use AI, the machine learning, to analyze it, say, oh, here's the steps, and I notice will correlate across lots and lots of things. And the next step is, we call it automate the automation, where the output of that says, okay, here is a test ready, trial ready bot already built for you.
Mhm.
Go run it. It runs, and the data it's kicking off, the computer vision and AI is looking at it going, oh, well, what about this? What about this? And it changes it. So that loop is now in place and getting smarter and smarter
Right.
and smarter.
Right.
So over the next 5 years, just going to be a fundamental change in how we work and even in our daily lives because of this understanding.
Mhm.
And those trends you talked about, cloud computing, more and more accessibility to basically just the data, and the amount of compute that we have available means that we can do more and more of this automation at bigger and bigger scale and touch more and more complex use cases. It's a
Hmm.
very exciting time to be in the space.
So people talk about something called the automation economy, and it sounds like it might be self-evident what it is. It's many different sectors, many different processes run by automation. So what is the automation economy, and do we mortal human workers have something to be worried about when we hear the phrase automation economy?
Mortal human workers. Yes, I'd like to be mortal and human.
We make mistakes. We humans make mistakes, of course, unlike the automated machines.
Yeah. Well, this is how I think about the automation economy. Uh, let's just move forward. And James, you cover this extensively. We are
Sure,
in the middle of some of the biggest technology shifts in our lifetime. And
no doubt.
I've been
Right.
through a few, but the rise of cloud computing, the accessibility of massive scale, and essentially the emergence of AI at
Hmm.
scale.
Hmm.
Those combinations are going to allow everybody to do automation. And as a worker, every day you're going to show up in the next 5+ years and you are going to have digital workers that are accessible to you. Your
Right.
team will be of people and digital workers, and they are going to do tasks for you every day that you used to do. And it could be as simple as like addressing email. It could be as simple as I have invoices coming in that I need done. They're going to do it for you. The
Hmm.
automation economy is about embracing these changes as companies become more and more efficient so that they can focus us on the higher value tasks. If you're showing up to work and you're doing the same thing every day,
Hmm.
you probably are looking at a scenario where automation can help you so that you can move to the next level in
Hmm.
whatever it is for your company and focus on creating, delivering better customer service, and delivering more value for your job, your career, and you personally. And
Hmm.
that's what I like about this. The next step is I look at things that you just couldn't do before. I was talking to a company, their investment bank, and this was just kind of a fascinating thing. They were using automation and they had a series of bots that went out and looked at images of retail
Hmm. Hmm.
across the globe. And they were looking at the parking lots. And
Ah, okay.
they would look at the parking lot and say, are they full or not? They were trying to get trends. So the bots were off pulling all this stuff together and coming back and say, yeah, half full, full, whatever in this region.
Right.
Now when you show up in the office, instead of you like, okay, I go check on Best Buy, blah, 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 you're like, wow, I got a full data set that I can go and look at and help me make better investment decisions. So
Mhm.
that delta change, this is what we're on the verge of. We are literally right in the middle of it.
Right. Right. No, I think that We are definitely right in the middle of it. I think people sometimes don't even fully understand the extent to which it's going to reshape things. A lot of positive things. Other things might be challenging, but in any case, there's no doubt you are correct. It is really reshaping business and society. Let's drill down into Automation Anywhere. It's a really interesting company. How is Automation Anywhere addressing the AI automation needs of its clients? What's the Automation Anywhere advantage?
Yeah, we embarked on a big change in the company just before COVID, around
Hmm.
2018, and we shifted our product to a full, what they call native cloud product.
Aha.
And it helps us bridge the gap between kind of, I'll call it the legacy compute environments that most companies have, but letting them embrace the full tech stack of the modern, what we call kind of the modern enterprise tech stack, which is a cloud.
The cloud native stack. Sure.
So what we did is we rewrote the entire product ground up so that you get the benefits of things like AWS and GCP, public cloud, but we still allow you to deploy, if needed, on-prem. So
Hmm.
you can have the same stack and go on-prem and in cloud. And why is that important? Well, many companies have decades, if not more, of systems sitting both in the cloud as they shift and on-prem. Automation,
Legacy systems.
legacy systems, automation should be able to touch everything because you need to address your full kind of life cycle of what you're doing.
Mhm.
What that gives our customers is a very flexible platform that one can scale with them. It removes the upgrade cycle. So in tech, in the enterprise, to the enterprise software, that painful enterprise life cycle where a new version drops down, maybe your ERP system, it takes you 3 years to like put it in,
Right.
goes away. It's just seamless updates 4 times a year. You get the updates, you constantly get the innovation, you can tap into the AI pieces we just talked about, and you can continuously develop without having to always worry about bringing new technology with you. That gives our customers a much faster, more flexible platform to develop innovative AI-driven automations. And this gives us a huge advantage and it gives our customers a huge advantage. It's very efficient, it's very easy to maintain, and allows everybody to get the latest in technology and the latest innovations and use them when they're ready. So I couldn't be more pleased with what the engineering teams and the product teams have done. It is really unlocking a lot of value.
So you're saying that Automation Anywhere is both SaaS and on-prem. Is there a way to break down, the mix and we're 80% SaaS customers, we're 20% on-prem, or how do you look at it that way?
So we have about 86%, approximately, I just went through our planning, is adopting cloud. That's increasing the most. In fact, what we see is the cloud customers are using the product more and more.
Right.
And about of the customers not on cloud, they're actually more hybrid, meaning they're using a bit of both, and it has a lot to do with where their legacy systems are. And we want to provide that flexibility. So we allow customers to apply on the cloud, on-prem, or a hybrid of the two. And that flexibility allows them to take advantage of the full stack.
Mhm. So let's look to the future of automation, artificial intelligence. Obviously, it's when people think about that, they almost think it's this science fiction. We see walking, talking robots.
Yeah.
I'm sensing it won't be exactly like that. What do you see several years out in terms of automation AI? What will we be talking about if we talk about that in say 2027 or so?
Yeah, 2027, 2030, I think in the next 5+ years, as I mentioned, the way I look at it is if you are an executive at a company and you aren't thinking about how AI and automation is shaping your business, you
Mhm.
will be in the dustbin of
Right.
technology.
No doubt.
If you're not using data and AI to help you make decisions faster, that's what it is. So as I mentioned, it's going to be a couple things. One, for all of us from a worker perspective, no matter what device you're on, you are going to have accessibility to automation. Most cases, it's going to come through the lens of the experiences you already have. It's in your productivity apps. It will be in your chat apps. It'll be through voice, but the automation will be behind the scenes taking care of those tasks. And that world is coming to us very quickly. And at
Mhm.
the same time, and think about supply chain, customer service, automation will will kind of collapse all those legacy systems so that they'll run in the background. Automation will take advantage of its scale to go across to 15 different systems to say, where's my order? It's looking up your inventory system, your warehouse system, your delivery system to help give that answer so that you aren't just sitting there waiting, like, what are they doing? Right.
Right.
Automation is handling that. And those legacy systems, which take decades to remove, can still run and do exactly what they do, but a new layer of automation is on top, making them more efficient and allowing them to last a lot longer.
I wonder, and I believe that world will come to pass, but I'm wondering if we'll have the workers and the staffers and the professionals necessary to build all that. Because even though there will be automation and AI, running in the background and foreground, there's going to be some really skilled folks, a lot of skilled folks, to make sure that's happening and monitoring that. And maybe if it goes off track, they have to bring it back on track. I mean, I guess I'm asking about the skills gap, which is a totally different question. But do we have the folks that we need to make that world possible?
Well, I think there's another trend, James, that we are aware of, and I'm sure you're aware of, is the kind of low code, no code initiatives.
Sure,
And
right.
this is awesome. I mean, in my early days of technology, we all had to be programmers, but as you can see, it's getting more and more declarative, more and more low code. And these tools are making automation accessible to anybody. At the same time, the next generation of workers are coming up. They are digital natives. They
Sure.
can do things like I watch what my kids can do, and I'm like, wow, right? It's just second nature. So this intersection of low code, no code accessibility to build things like automations, having the automation as a service just available to you at all times that you can tap into, and this whole set of next generation workers who are just, they're digital natives. This stuff is, much easier, much more accessible, and it speaks the language they speak. So those intersections are going to propel this forward.
I believe that the younger workers, digital natives, and with the low code, no code, those two concepts coming together will enable an enormous amount of tool sets. Mike, I think you said it. Cool stuff. I learned a ton. Thank you so much for talking with us, and I hope you can come back and talk with us again sometime.
Yeah, I can't wait. This is a blast. Thank you for letting me join.